The Expos and the Dodgers this afternoon, and their final meeting of this 1991 season. The Expos lead the season series 6-5 with one remaining. The men in blue for this afternoon's ball game. Plate umpire will be Larry Poncino. Bruce Fremming is working at first base, the senior man on the crew, with Dana DeMuth at second base and Greg Bonet at third base. While we wait for the Dodgers to take the field behind Mike Morgan, we had a chance before the ball game to talk to Tom Runnels about the lack of offense against this Los Angeles team, and in this series in particular.
Kenny, I basically we've got the same lineup. We did move it around a little bit. I've got David Martinez hitting in the third spot, which Calderon has really occupied most of the season. Tim Wallach is moved down to the fifth spot, and Calderon will be in the fourth spot. I feel really comfortable with the top three guys, Davey Martinez, Grissom, and DeShields getting on base, and then Calderon driving them in. So he's been the guy that's really been hot and probably the most consistent hitter for us all season long, and I'm going to give him that chance to drive some runs in for us.
The Expos lineup for today's game brought to you by John Deere Limited. Nothing runs like a deer. Delino DeShields, Marquise Grissom, and Dave Martinez at the top of the order. Then Ivan Calderon batting cleanup. Tim Wallach number 5 and Larry Walker 6th. Ron Hasse will catch the ball game. Spike Owen is at shortstop, and El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, pitching the ball game.
Well, you heard Tom Reynolds speak about the changes in the lineup. Why don't we look at the number 3 slot? Dave Martinez has moved in there. He's been swinging a hot bat. You get him in front of Calderon, who's been an RBI threat all season long. Maybe something will change and they get some production. Drop down a little bit further, Larry Walker. If you notice, he's at first base today. Andres Galarraga is out of the lineup. The big cat has not been swinging the bat well since returning from the disabled list. Larry Walker has been. So he gets a chance to play both Martinez and Walker in the same ball game.
This lineup brought to you by John Deere Limited. Mike Morgan on the mound today for the Dodgers, 31-year-old veteran, up against Dennis Martinez. Morgan with a fine earned run average of 2.70.
Morgan made the All-Star team this year, 9-5, 2.70. Control pitcher. He's been at various stops in the major leagues, the last one being Los Angeles, and he's really helped fill out this rotation. He's been sort of a tough luck pitcher his last few years in the majors, but this year he's having a good year and could end up with his first winning record ever in a major league season.
And he has had a few. He's in his 10th year. Defensively, Cal Daniels, Brett Butler, and Darryl Strawberry in the Dodger outfield. Eddie Murray, Juan Samuel, Alfredo Griffin, and Lenny Harris on the infield. And Mike Scioscia behind the plate. In Mike Morgan's last start, had a no decision against the Philadelphia Phillies, a game the Dodgers won 6-5. As a matter of fact, Morgan has had 4 consecutive starts without a decision. Delino DeShields to lead it off, batting at .253. Looking to bunt, and a called strike. We're underway at Dodger Stadium. The teams did not take batting practice. This is camera day at Dodger Stadium, so the field was filled with fans taking snapshots of their favorite Dodgers. And some of the Expos went down to the batting cage to do some hitting. The pitch to DeShields. He tried to bunt and fouled it off. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Delino trying to set the table with Grissom up next, and then Dave Martinez. On the ground for Griffin, the shortstop, and DeShields is out.
Number 9.
Delino out of there, and Marquise Grissom will move in.
Look for Mike Morgan to change speeds on the breaking ball, try and keep everything down in the strike zone, moving away. Has a pretty good changeup as well. His fastball, every once in a while, he'll try and blow it by a hitter who might be looking for something off speed.
Grissom takes ball one. Marquis hitting at 267. Line drive here, softly hit to Samuel, the second baseman, and Grissom is out.
Marquis jammed on that last play. Morgan rode the fastball in on the hands, and Marquis didn't get the good part of the bat on it.
With two down, Dave Martinez up. The Expos, who have gone 23 innings without a run, working on number 24 now. 2 outs, none on. Dave Martinez in his last 11 games has batted .417, so as Ken mentioned, a hot hitter. And you have to figure if the Expos are going to generate offense today, more than likely it's going to come from Martinez, Calderon, and Wallach. Ball one and no strikes to Dave Martinez.
We got a couple of streaks going here today. The Expos haven't scored in 23 innings. The Dodgers haven't given up a run in 32.
Foul ball back out of play to the left. A ball and a strike. The Dodgers in their last game before the Expos series got a shutout against the Philadelphia Phillies. Have shut the Expos out twice. They're going for their 4th consecutive shutout. This would give them 33 innings if Morgan gets through the first scoreless. And he falls behind on Dave Martinez. The Dodger record is 38 consecutive scoreless innings, and you have to go back to the 1966 season.
They had some pitchers on that staff. You start with Mr. Koufax and Mr. Drysdale.
Soft line drive, flagged down by Alfredo Griffin. 3 up, 3 down, and nothing across for the Expos after a half inning. No score. This is Labatt, Expos Baseball on TSN. We're back to check out the Dodger lineup for today's game. Brought to you by John Deere Limited. Nothing runs like a deer. Leadoff batters Brett Butler. Juan Samuel hits number 2 for Los Angeles, and Eddie Murray is in the 3rd spot. Darryl Strawberry is their cleanup hitter. Cal Daniels will bat number 5, and Lenny Harris 6th. Mike Scioscia doing the catching. Alfredo Griffin at short, and Mike Morgan on the mound. The Dodger lineup loaded with left-handed batters.
And when you look at it a little closer, the top of the lineup figures the top 2 hitters in the lineup as far as average is concerned. Brett Butler coming over to the Dodgers as a free agent, up there among league leaders in on-base percentage, runs scored, and walks, doing the job out of the leadoff spot. Batting second, Juan Samuel, after a slump of a couple of years, has really come back and is a prime candidate for comeback player of the year in the National League.
So Dennis Martinez for the Expos today, 35-year-old veteran, 10-6, had a no decision against the Padres his last time out. Dennis has posted just 1 win in his last 7 starts. He beat John Smiley and the Pittsburgh Pirates on the 5th of July, his last win, and number 10 on the season.
Dennis has been like a number of Expos starting pitchers this year. Sometimes they can sue for a lack of support. Go back to that last game in San Diego with the no decision. Dennis pitched very well against the Padres, only to come up short on the decision. And he's looking for some run support today, although he is quite capable of keeping the Expos in the game if they don't score very much or not at all.
Defensively for the Expos in the outfield, left to right, it's Ivan Calderon, Marquis Grissom, and Dave Martinez. On the infield today, Larry Walker at first base. Galarraga's out of the lineup. Delino DeShields and Spike Owen and Tim Wallach. And Ron Hasse behind the plate. He has caught 20 of Dennis Martinez's 22 starts. So the Dodger leadoff batter, Brett Butler, coming up. Los Angeles has put together a 5-game win streak. Ken talked about Brett Butler's on-base percentage. Second in the league. Ozzie Smith of the Cardinals has a .408 on-base percentage. Butler is next at .403, tied with Fred McGriff of the San Diego Padres. Butler hitting .298. He has scored more runs than anyone else in the National League, leading with 68 runs. Martinez's first pitch is fouled away. 0-1 to Butler. Mentioned briefly the strange season series between these two clubs. The Expos won all 6 games at Olympic Stadium. The Dodgers to date have won all 5 games here in Los Angeles with 1 to go. 0-2 to Butler.
Dennis broke off a good curveball. Butler, we mentioned it before, an excellent bunter, and Tim Wallach was playing in to begin with. And now Butler's in the hole, no balls and 2 strikes, and still Wallach is even with the bag at third. Other left-handed hitters with more punch, he might drop back a little bit further. Butler's been known to drop it down with 2 strikes.
Takes a fastball off the inside corner. Martinez wanted that, and he stares in at Larry Poncino, the plate umpire. Dennis now in his 6th year with the Expos, his 15th year in the major leagues. A called strike, and that's all for Butler, who takes one on the outside corner. So while Dennis didn't get the call on the fastball on the inside of the plate, came back with a breaking ball, got the call on the outside corner.
You saw the look on Butler's face as he was headed back to the dugout. He might be saying there's not much I can do with a breaking ball like that. The backdoor breaking ball over the corner.
Juan Samuel, the batter. He and Mike Morgan are the only 2 right-handed batters in the lineup against Dennis Martinez. Juan hitting at 300, 10 homers, 45 RBIs. Spike Owen with the play, and Samuel is out at first base.
Batting third, number 33.
Tom Runnels, of course, in his first year managing the Expos alongside a pitching coach Larry Bernard. And Tom Lasorda in his 15th year managing the Dodgers. Got the Hollywood shades on this afternoon. Tom had an early workout here, camera day in Los Angeles. Eddie Murray up with 2 outs, none on, no score in the first. Well, in spite of the fact that the Atlanta Braves have done a good job to overtake the Cincinnati Reds, about the only heat the Dodgers are feeling is the heat from the Southern California sunshine. They have a 6-game lead in the National League West. Eddie Murray hitting at .254 with 9 homers and 59 RBIs. Grounded to the right side to Shields with the play. Murray is out. The side is retired on 6 pitches. Nothing for the Dodgers in the first. This is Labatt, Expos Baseball on TSN. With Tom Candiotti on the mound for the Jays and Mark Gubazov for the Royals, 1-0 Toronto in the 4th. Candiotti with his hands full because the Royals have been scoring a lot of runs recently. But the Jays lead there 1-0. The Angels lead at Yankee Stadium 8-2 in the 7th inning. Jim Abbott against Scott Kamenicki. They were roommates at the University of Michigan and went up against each other at Yankee Stadium today. 8-2 Angels in the 7th inning. The Pittsburgh Pirates are down 7-4 at the Astrodome. Zane Smith had started that game for the Bucks, by the way. The Reds and the Cardinals scoreless. Chicago leading Atlanta 3-2 in the 7th inning.
22, left fielder Ivan Calderon.
Ivan Calderon to bat. Hitting in the cleanup spot for the first time this season. Calderon batting at .309, 10 homers, 53 RBIs. Ken, did you see who Lou Piniella has starting that game for the Cincinnati Reds?
You know, I thought it might be Randy Myers sooner or later. He's been making some noise about coming out of the bullpen and give me a chance to start here.
Got a chance today as the Reds wait for the return of Jose Rio and Norm Charlton. And their general manager, Bob Quinn, taking a lot of heat for not dealing for a pitcher, but he maintains that when Charlton and Rio comes back, there's still time for the Reds. Calderon, tied up by an inside pitch, goes down on strikes. First strikeout for Mike Morgan.
Batting fifth.
Here's a pitch inside. Calderon trying to check his swing, can't do it. One thing about batting third, and I batted third for a number of years, one thing I liked about it, I always knew I was going to hit in the first inning. And you could always prime yourself. When you're hitting cleanup, you might or you might not, depending on what your teammates do. I always liked the fact that I knew I was going to hit in the first inning.
Oh, and 1 the count on Tim Wallach, batting at .241, 10 homers and 47 RBIs. This is as far as Wallach got last night. One trip to the plate, and when he was called out on strikes, he argued with the plate umpire Greg Bonet, who was at third base today, and Tim Wallach was ejected. 5th time in his career, the 1st time this year, and only the 2nd time in the last 3 years. 1-1 pitch. Pop foul over toward the seats. 1-2 to Wallach.
Might be interesting to watch as Wallach's playing his position today, how much he has to say to third base umpire Greg Bonet. Maybe not too much at all.
High fly ball. Butler. Wallach hit it a long way to the spacious Dodger Stadium outfield. 2 down.
Wallach didn't have his best swing at that pitch. It was sort of an off-speed pitch, a little out in front, but it gives you an idea how strong he is. Hit the ball that far when he didn't have his best swing, almost to the warning track in front of the 395 sign.
Larry Walker has moved from right field to first base for this afternoon's game. Batting .243. He's driven in 29 RBIs and has 8 home runs. 1 strike to Larry Walker. So we'll see how this adjustment in the batting order helps the Expos today, and if it does, indeed. Here's a ground ball for Jerry Manuel, the third base coach. 0-2 on Larry Walker. Mike Morgan with the pitch. 1-2. With Walker in the lineup, the Cat has an afternoon off. Of course, he is available. Two balls, 2 strikes. And we've talked considerably about Galarraga and his lack of production, and in all fairness, he's not alone. Big high bouncer for Griffin, the shortstop. And he managed to throw without being able to really plant, and he still got the speedy Larry Walker. We're scoreless in the 2nd. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Well, I wouldn't think that pitchers really want to join this list, but these are pitchers in the major leagues who have lost no-hitters, have gone at least 9 pitching no-hit ball only to lose. So a bunch back early in the 1900s. Then on into the 30s. Then in 1959, maybe the most famous, Harvey Haddix. Most recently was last year Andy Hawkins, up until Mark Gardner's performance here 2 nights ago.
Oh, they were mixed feelings. I knew I had accomplished something that not many people accomplish, but then again, the loss was overpowering, and wasn't really able to celebrate what had happened. So it really hasn't sunk in yet. I'm sure down the road I'll look back on this and treasure it a little more and maybe celebrate too.
One thing I had heard from your pitching coach, Larry Bernarth, is that when you had pitched your previous game against the Giants, you went 4 2/3, I believe, a no-hit ball. And after you gave up the hit, Manwaring got a base hit. You came in after the inning and said to him, well, maybe I'll pitch a no-hitter the next time. What did you say following this latest effort?
Well, I think I was kidding around and said, hey, maybe I can throw a perfect game and see what happens there. But I think it was something that I just said off the cuff to Larry Bernarth, saying that maybe I needed to pitch a no-hitter to get a victory because my luck was so bad against the Giants. And here I came out here in Los Angeles and went 9 innings, and what a coincidence that was.
Delino DeShields and Dennis Martinez take care of Darryl Strawberry. 1 out in the second, and Cal Daniels will be coming up. We're scoreless at Dodger Stadium. Strawberry with the big hit against Jeff Fassaro that produced the Dodger run that beat Mark Gardner. 1-0 in 10 innings Friday night. Cal Daniels for the Dodgers, then Lenny Harris.
You know, one thing, if I might add, about Mark Gardner, it's not a fluke that he pitched that well the other night. He's been pitching well for over a month now. He's been peaking leading up to some sort of extra human effort like he pitched the other night. And I think the fact is that he's going to continue to pitch this way throughout the rest of the year. Pitch very well in ball games, keep the Expos in games. And his ERA for this month alone is under 1.80. So the fact that he has been throwing good, it just didn't come out of the blue.
A called strike on Cal Daniels, batting .349 over his last 13 games. His mother had been ill. He went home for a short while. Since coming back, has gone 6 for 14 when in the Dodger lineup. Cal Daniels goes down on strikes, and it's the second strikeout for Dennis Martinez.
Batting sixth, number 29, third baseman.
El Presidente going with the high heat to pick up the strikeout. You know, pitchers not only work in and out, inside corner, outside corner, they work up and down. That time Dennis went with the fastball to pass Daniels upstairs.
One strike on Lenny Harris, batting at .292. Dennis Martinez gets ahead, 0-2.
That was the same type of pitch that got Tim Wallach thrown out of the ball game last night. A fastball that extreme borderline. And it was a case of a veteran catcher, Gary Carter, really working umpire Greg Bonet to the outside corner. The first pitch was a call strike over the corner. Gary Carter moved his glove a little further outside. Ojeda hit the glove. They called that a strike. Then he moved it a little further outside, and they called that a strike. And Wallach was gone.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Dennis kept hammering away there. Gets his third strikeout. The Dodgers are gone after 2. No score. Montreal Expos baseball on TSN.
I think it kind of goes both ways. I think that there's times where you're mechanically not real good, and then all of a sudden that becomes mental to you, and then, like I say, it goes to the pit of your stomach. And then on the other hand, there's a time where you're mechanically you're real good, and you're hitting balls hard and you're hitting balls at people, and then it becomes a mental thing that I can't find a hole. Then I decide to change things mechanically, physically, and that messes up things that I had good, and then that goes to the pit of my stomach, and then I'm in a real mess.
So a vicious cycle. Jay Ward's wife taking in the ball game and the California sunshine.
Mrs. Ward in the red top there, and Tommy Harper's wife on her left. That's Bonnie Harper and Lynn Ward. You know, we always seem to be showing the players wise. get the coaches' wives on the air every once in a while.
1 strike pitch to Ron Hassey, who hits it foul on the third base line. Hassey batting at .242 with a home run and 14 RBIs. The Expos catchers as a group, Ron Hassey, Gil Reyes, and Mike Fitzgerald, are not hitting. Between the 3 of them, they have 8 hits in their last 99 at-bats. So the Expos catchers, over 99, make it 100 at-bats, are hitting less than .080.
Batting 8, number 11, shortstop, Spike.
Well, thus far, both Dennis Martinez and Mike Morgan showing that they are very accurate with their pitches. Fastball over the inside corner. Ron Hassey didn't believe it, but that was very close to the same pitch that had Lenny Harris struck out in the top half of the second.
In the air to left field, and that's all for Spike Owen, who stepped in hitting at .225. 2 quick outs here.
9, number 32, pitcher, Dennis Martinez.
Dennis Martinez to bat. Now, if Mike Morgan gets Dennis Martinez, the Expos will have gone 26 innings without a run. And the Dodger staff will have pitched 35 innings without a run, which will match their second longest consecutive scoreless streak. And they'll take a run at the Dodger team record, 1966, 38 consecutive innings.
Mentioned briefly on that staff, Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, Claude Osteen. You start with those 3. And in those days, you only had 4 men in a rotation. Now, we looked up and we knew that Bill Singer was here with the Dodgers at the time. There's Don Drysdale, big right-hander. And also, that was Don Sutton's first year with Los Angeles.
Bill Singer was here. And the big guy out of the bullpen was Phil Reagan, the Vulture.
So we know that they went around the rotation once. All 4 pitchers throwing a shutout.
Ball bounced foul off to the left side. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I asked Don about it before the game, and he happened to be sitting with Vin Scully, who knows just about everything there is to know about the Dodgers. And he mentioned that, and he mentioned along with Don, that the reason why they had to pitch so well is that team didn't score very much. He said that they were the only team to win the pennant and be shut out as many as 17 times. 17 times the Dodgers didn't score that year, and they still went on to win the pennant. And when they got to the World Series against the Orioles, they were shut out 3 times in the World Series.
Martinez hits another foul ball off to the left side. A typical Dodger big inning and a Dodger run in those days would be a base hit and a steal of second, usually by Maury Wills. Then a ground ball to the right side to get him to third for out number 1 and a sacrifice fly. The Dodgers would have a 1-0 lead, and Walter Alston would turn to Sandy and say, "There's your run, hold them."
And he did. He and Drysdale then went on to the Hall of Fame.
Where in a way they continue to shut people out because of the standard that they set.
Exactly.
2 outs. 2-2 to Dennis Martinez. From Mike Morgan. Has pitched with 6 different major league clubs and played for 11 different managers. Gets a strikeout here, his 3rd in the game, and the Expos have gone in order. And the scoreless streak is at 26, and for the Dodgers staff, 35 innings. We're scoreless. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN.
During the past few weeks, thousands of fans have expressed their baseball dreams.
Well, if you're in Hollywood, you're trying to make a movie, you've got to think green like Arnold Schwarzenegger, round up all those big bucks. But if you're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, you think blue. And right now, no score here. Expos and the Dodgers into the 3rd inning. Socha, Griffin, and Morgan coming up.
You know, you might even think blue if you're in some sort of establishment throughout Canada. You might be thinking blue.
We hope so.
Yeah, while you're watching a ball game here.
Another good crowd. The Dodgers average over 41,500 fans a game. This is the 30th year at Dodger Stadium, where they have averaged 2.6 million fans a year for the 30 years they played in this ballpark. Speaking of fans, it's that kind of a day. Notice how our crew is well looked after.
I wonder if they counted that fan in today's attendance. Last night they had their 15th sellout of the year here at Dodger Stadium.
Mike Scioscia up. The Dodger catcher. Scioscia has started 67 games behind the plate. The kid, Gary Carter, 34 games. While Scioscia was out injured, Carter did a terrific job for the Dodgers. He, as a matter of fact, started last night's game, so Scioscia had a night off before this afternoon game. He's caught more games than any other Dodger catcher. Dennis Martinez going to work. A called strike. Well, Ken, certainly until somebody pushes a run across, zeros will be the story of this afternoon for the Dodger staff and for the Expos offensively. And from an individual standpoint, of course, for Dennis Martinez. A weak bouncer to DeShields, and Scioscia is out. Fans following this ball game will select the Labatt player of the game for the Expos on behalf of Canon's Pochura. Hold the future of photography in your hands. The sophisticated new approach in camera design combines a full range of auto operation features that ensure everyone will enjoy using the Pochura. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of that player and Canon.
Dave, to follow up on what you said about zeros on the scoreboard, you have Martinez and Morgan today. Dennis leading the league in earned run average at 2.17, and that's dropped since the beginning of the game with 2 shutout innings. And Mike Morgan at 2.70 has been no slouch. He's 6th in the league in earned run average. So it's been tough to score off either one of these guys throughout the season.
0-2 on Alfredo Griffin, the Dodgers shortstop, hitting at 255. No home runs, 20 RBIs. Still 0-2 on Alfredo Griffin. Ken, when the pitchers go out there knowing the club is not scoring any runs, does a veteran pitcher like Dennis Martinez handle that going into his start a little better than the younger pitchers?
I would think Dennis would, because he's been through this time and time again throughout his career. But the fact is, it doesn't make it any easier following games where Dennis has pitched very well and the club hasn't scored to support him. He's been kind of upset leaving the clubhouse and refuses to talk very often. Gets a nice play by Larry Walker on the play. You saw Dennis acknowledge to Walker, nice play. And he knows that he's going to be in a ball game where he's going to have to try and shut him down. Walker's done an excellent job moving back from the outfield at first base and bouncing back and forth. Nice play on the short hop there. It's not as easy as you would think. First of all, Dodger Stadium here is a very tough infield to play. It's very, very hard. Baked in the sun.
2 outs, and Dodger pitcher Mike Morgan is up. Low and ball 1. Mike Morgan has 3 hits in 45 at bats. So an average of 0.67. Third inning, and Morgan takes outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Morgan's making his 3rd start of the season against the Expos. 0-1, a loss to Dennis Martinez April 30th. So Dennis has been through this before, shutting the Dodgers out. The Expos won that game 1-0 on a 9th inning home run by Delino DeShields off Morgan. Made a winner of Dennis Martinez.
Well, Dennis is very sharp today. He's thrown 25 pitches so far. 19 of them have been strikes.
The 2-1 pitch. Morgan sends this to DeShields. That's all for the Dodgers. Nothing across. We've completed 3 with no score in Los Angeles. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Let's get an update on the Blue Jays. Vic Reuters at TSN to tell us all about it. Delino DeShields grounded out to short in the 1st inning. So the Dodgers staff up to 35 consecutive shutout innings. And the Expos have gone 26 without a run. Something's got to give.
Well, so far both pitchers have been perfect. 9 up and 9 down.
2-0 pitch. DeShields looks at a strike. Delino hitting .252. A good play by Samuel. Well, a player who many times is criticized for his problems defensively comes up with a nice play.
Properly positioned to start with. His ball hit right on the nose. 1 step and a dive, and Samuel comes up with it and then guns it across the first for the out. Juan Samuel, a lot of times when a player's hitting starts to come around, his fielding will follow. Juan Samuel having an excellent offensive year, gaining more confidence in the field.
He's got another chance here. Grissom, first ball hitting, is out. 2 quick outs in the 4th inning.
Number 22.
Dave Martinez up. He lined out to the shortstop Alfredo Griffin in the 1st inning. And 1. Today, the decision that Tom Reynolds had to make about the lineup was relatively easy, with a right-hander pitching for the Dodgers, Dave Martinez playing in right field, and Larry Walker playing at first base. There are days when it's a very tough decision for the manager to make, to decide whether it'll be Dave Martinez to play or Larry Walker to play.
And those are the days that Andres Galarraga is installed at first base. Well, today the decision was made to have Walker play at first base, and Martinez gets to play in right field.
You have Dave Martinez, a hot hitter right now, but you have Larry Walker, who is a part of the Expos' future. Martinez drives a ball to right field. Back is Strawberry, and he got there. 3 up, 3 down, nothing for the Expos in the 4th against Mike Morgan after 3.5 no score. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. No score. The Dodgers coming up in the 4th inning. A beautiful but hot July afternoon in Los Angeles. Expos will fly out of LA after the game, head to San Francisco. 2-game series with the Giants coming up before getting back home and opening a homestand, a brief one. 4-game series with the Phillies underway Thursday night at Olympic Stadium. Top of the Dodger batting order, Brett Butler. He was called out on strikes his first time up. Cardinals are leading Cincinnati 3-2 in the 9th inning, and You know the Dodgers look at the scoreboard constantly. They want to know what the Reds are doing. They want to know what the Braves are doing. Well, the Cubs are leading the Braves 6-2 in the 8th, so the Dodgers are feeling pretty good about things elsewhere right now. Of course, they have to take care of their own business at Dodger Stadium.
Here's where Brett Butler can be very dangerous as far as the bunt is concerned. Now, he's seen Dennis Martinez retire the first 9 hitters, and not much happened. He might be willing to lay one down in front of Wallach at third, although Tim is just about close enough that he can shake hands with him because he creeps in as the pitch approaches home plate. Dennis goes to the windup and Wallach starts moving in.
2 balls, no strikes.
Now with Butler ahead on the count 2-0, he might be thinking more about swinging away. He does, but doesn't get it. One of the most overlooked stats in baseball, on base percentage, the ability to get yourself on base, set up opportunities for your teammates. Now, if you can get a team full of players or up and down throughout your lineup, I don't say you have to get on base 40% of the time, but 35% of the time on up, players in your lineup, you're going to give yourself more chances of scoring. Players who aren't up there just swinging away, swinging at everything, trying to work their way on base. If they don't get the pitch that they can handle and drive somewhere, they'll be willing to take a walk and leave it up to the next guy. And that's how you put pressure on veteran pitchers like Martinez or Mike Morgan to throw strikes, continue to throw strikes. And then you get in a situation where the Expos are now, they're not hitting. Everybody goes up there swinging, feeling they got to hit the ball out of the park to put something on the board. Well, it's not going to work that way. You're facing some pretty good pitchers here at Dodger Stadium.
3 balls and 2 strikes now to Brett Butler.
First full count on a hitter for Dennis Martinez today. And it's the first time he's gone this far or thrown 6 pitches to any hitter in the Dodger lineup.
Spike Owen with the play. Dennis Martinez battled and was able to get Brett Butler 6-3, 1 out in the 4th, with Juan Samuel coming up. Samuel grounded out to Spike Owen in the first inning. Fastball low. Foul back out of play. You know, one thing that Juan Samuel did as a young player with the Phillies, Ken, that we haven't seen as much of in the past few years is bunt for the single.
Used to use his speed a lot more when he was with Philadelphia. Occasionally he would be used as a leadoff man.
One and one the count on Juan Samuel with Eddie Murray to follow. Ground ball sharply hit at Wallach, who stops it neatly and throws Samuel out at first base. Now 2 outs and Murray up. 11 in a row have been retired by Dennis Martinez. 12 in a row have been retired by Mike Morgan.
Wallach about even with the bag. Now, we were talking about Samuel's ability to bunt. Wallach playing him fairly close, but comes up with a hard smash and throws him out. You know, when pitchers are starting to, or really on a roll, we saw Morgan retire 12 Expos in a row, but sometimes you can tell by how hard the balls are hit whether the pitchers are just about ready to crack. Morgan had a pair of hard hit balls in the last inning. DeShields with a grounder to Samuel, and Martinez lining out the Strawberry.
1-0 pitch had Eddie Murray out in front. A good changeup. These two know each other well. Former teammates at Baltimore.
Been to 2 World Series together.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Grounded foul behind third. When the Expos play the Dodgers, you normally hold an Oriole alumni meeting with yourself and Dave Schmidt, Dennis Martinez, Eddie Murray. Any new business from the old Orioles?
Not this year, although Hasse right now is tending to new business with Dennis on the mound. I don't know if Dennis hurt himself. He's flexing his hip as Ron McLean comes out of the dugout on this last pitch to Eddie Murray. There might be some new business to talk about right here.
Ron McLean along with Tom Runnels out there. Let's check out the last pitch.
That was a pitch that it was a sinker away, and when Dennis landed right there on his hip on the side, maybe he pulled a muscle or something. That's the leg that he lands on after he follows through. Pushes off, then lands on it again. And certainly a lot of concern for Dennis Martinez, who hasn't given up a base runner this afternoon.
Well, Dennis has told everyone out there concerned that he's all right. Tim Wallach over for a couple of words.
Getting back to Eddie, I talked to Eddie, and his concern is about a new contract. He's in the last year of his deal here in Los Angeles, and he and the Dodgers haven't done much talking. The Dodgers have a good prospect down at the AAA level, Eric Karros, a first baseman, and they seem to be making Eddie work hard and wait till that last moment before they start talking. That's the new business.
1-2 pitch hit hard, bobbled by Walker, recovered by Walker, and thrown to Martinez for the out. 3 up, 3 down, nothing for the Dodgers in the fourth. Both starters have pitched shutout and perfect baseball through 4. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. The Expos and the Dodgers scoreless after 4 in Los Angeles. Calderon, Wallach, and Walker coming up. Stay with us right after the ball game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Visa.
Number 22, Ivan Calderon.
Ivan Calderon steps in to lead off the 5th. He struck out his first time up. And a pop fly here for Strawberry, the right fielder. 13 in a row have been retired by Mike Morgan. In the record book, you go back to September 24th through the 30th, 1972. The Expos went 32 consecutive runs without an inning. That's the club record. They are now at 27 1/3.
I was here then. Those are things that you don't remember. I don't remember that, but I guess we were on some kind of really slumping streak with the bats.
One strike to Tim Wallach, who flied out to center field in the second. Meanwhile, the Dodgers staff consecutive scoreless inning streak is at 36, 2 short of their club record. A ball and a strike to Wallach. Mike Morgan. Last pitch to shutout back on the April ball game against the San Diego Padres, April 19th. Pitched a 4-0 shutout. Had one going against the Expos until the 9th inning and the DeShields home run. Two balls and a strike to Tim Wallach. And Morgan falls behind 3-1.
It was Wallach who had the first hit of the ball game the other night when Mark Gardner was pitching. Had a hit against Oro Hershiser in the second inning. And that was the only hit in the game until the 9th inning.
Wallach swings on the 3-1 and skies it for Strawberry. 2 away.
You notice Darryl with the sun, glasses down, and shading his eyes with his glove. Afternoon games here at Dodger Stadium can be very difficult on a right fielder. The sun is behind the stands over third base, and Darryl lost it for a moment there and then got it back. I've been out there. It's no fun in situations. I guess here, Wrigley Field and Chicago are the 2 toughest for right fielders. The only difference being in Wrigley Field, you have to contend with the wind as well.
The fans, the ivy, the bricks. Two quick strikes on Larry Walker, who grounded out to shortstop in the second. The Expos and the Dodgers scoreless in the 5th. Walker sends a ball to left. Daniels is back. Cal Daniels banged into the wall at the 360 sign and held on. Walker is out. Well, it takes some luck, it takes some skill, and it takes some big plays.
Nice play by Daniels, and he bounces into the padded wall here at Dodger Stadium.
And so the Expos scoreless innings goes to 28. No score here. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Dave Van Horn along with Ken Singleton in Los Angeles. The Expos and the Dodgers are scoreless into the bottom of the 5th inning. And we'll see Darryl Strawberry, Cal Daniels, and Lenny Harris. And she'll get a close-up look, and so will you on TSN. No runs, no hits either way. You can see how hot it is. We look all around the stands, and the fans are fanning themselves.
Yep, don't put your finger in there.
Look at this. We got the fan. Going to keep her cool. So many youngsters here. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger brought all those kids from Kindergarten Cop out to the ballpark with him.
That was a great movie, but you know, if Arnold's with him, nobody's going to bother those kids.
One strike on Darryl Strawberry. Grounded out to second base in the 2nd inning. Darryl Strawberry hit a home run here last night. Hit it off Dave Schmidt, who gave up back-to-back homers to Darryl Strawberry and Cal Daniels. Darryl extended his batting streak to 13 games. Hitting .348 during the hitting streak. his batting average at .243. He steps away. The Dodgers only stumbled once severely since the All-Star break. That was the 4-game series in Montreal, swept by the Expos. Larry Walker with the play. 13 in a row, retired by El Presidente. Cal Daniels will come to the plate. So the Dodgers are 7-9 since the break. One of the major reasons why they're 5-0 on their current homestand is that this big guy has started to hit.
Said he's feeling a lot better since that shoulder injury suffered here against the Expos on May the 15th. Crashed into the right field wall, making a catch and robbing Marquise Grissom of extra bases.
Oh, and 1.
For fans who like a pitching duel, they're seeing one today. Excellent pitching by Dennis Martinez and Mike Morgan.
Now, speaking of the All-Star break, Ken, one of the things that you do is you take a look at the standings of the All-Star break, and then you see if those leaders can hold on the rest of the way. How about in the National League East? The Pittsburgh Pirates leading the division at the All-Star break. Now you check them after the break. All they've done is win 13 of 15 games since the break. Pirates are down by a run at the Astrodome this afternoon in the 7th inning. A play for DeShields. Daniels is out. A couple of years ago, Cal Daniels would have beaten that out.
No doubt in my mind. He's been slowed by 5 knee operations. DeShields laying back, playing for the big hop. And Daniels didn't get out of the box very well to boot on this play, but DeShields back into the outfield. Cal Daniels at one time was capable of stealing 25 bases. Those days are gone since those operations on those tender knees. It's really cut down on his mobility in the outfield as well.
2 outs, nobody on, and Harris hits a fly ball to left field to foul territory. Calderon chases that down. Nothing across here for the Dodgers. We've played 5 and we're scoreless. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. All right, Vic. Larry Poncino was the plate umpire in that game down in West Palm Beach. Played in a monsoon. He tried to keep it going. As Vic pointed out, he won't have to worry about that this afternoon, or most any afternoon in Los Angeles. Ron Hasse, Spike Owen, and Dennis Martinez for Mike Morgan. There is the first hit of the afternoon. A solid base hit up the middle by Ron Hasse.
You know, anytime you have a situation, a leadoff hitter is the most dangerous because the pitcher is going to lay one in there. This is the guy he doesn't want to walk and give a freebie to. Well, Hasse takes advantage, gets a pitch. It's almost in the middle of the plate, and there's your first hit of the game.
Spike Owen fly to left his first time up. How will Tom Runnels play this with the pitcher on deck?
Well, it's more than likely that in a tight ball game, it's hard to call. The Expos haven't been scoring. Nobody's really been hitting. But you have to figure with the pitcher up next that Spike Owen will not be bunting. The only thing I could really imagine is a hit and run happening here. Spike is now ahead on the count. The Expos want to try and force the issue and get something going out of the bottom of their lineup.
Morgan had retired 15 in a row to start the ball game prior to the hit by Hasse. A play for Eddie Murray to Griffin for the force, and that's all. One down. Spike Owen is the runner at first base, and Dennis Martinez will try to bunt him over for Delino DeShields.
Last play, Murray, of course, holding Hasse on, gets the high hop. He's inside already, so he has an easy throw to second and gets it down there to Griffin to pick up the force. Spike Owen got out of the box pretty well, and not a play for Griffin at first base.
So Dennis Martinez comes to the plate. He struck out in the third. We're scoreless. The Dodger consecutive innings pitched streak at 28 now without allowing a run.
Expos have 41 sacrifice bunts on the year. Dennis has 8 of them to lead the team. And when you're in a tight ball game and the other pitcher's throwing pretty well, it becomes very important to move runners into scoring position. Spike Owen has pretty good speed, so it won't take that great of a bunt by Dennis to move him to second base.
Dennis swings away, trying to cross up the defense. That's as good as a sacrifice as Griffin throws to first.
Second baseman.
2 outs and a runner in scoring position, and the consecutive scoreless inning streak in jeopardy.
Saw that play of work last night for the Dodgers. Pitcher Bobby Ojeda squared around the bunt. The Expos had their infield on the move. He swings away, gets an infield single to load the bases. Dodgers come through. Brett Butler came through with a double, scored 2 runs.
Two outs in the inning. Now the club record is 38. So if he gets it out here without allowing a run, the staff will have tied the record. Morgan doing his work to that end today. 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, an indication that a pitcher might be losing his edge on the mound when he starts to fall behind on the count. Morgan was very sharp early in the game. Of course, hadn't given up a hit until this inning, but he's been behind every hitter this inning, not getting that first pitch strike.
Missing outside and walking to Shields, the left-handed batter, to bring the right-handed batter, Marquise Grissom, up to the plate. And Expos are at first and second. I might mention that Dodger pitcher Mike Morgan's averaging 7 innings per start. As a matter of fact, just over 7 innings a start, the most on the Dodger staff. Grissom has lined to second and bounced to second. A bouncer out near second. Griffin has it, steps on the bag, and that's the force on to Shields at second that Morgan needed to get the 3rd out. And the Dodger streak goes to 38, and they've tied their longest ever for the Expos, 29 without a run. We're scoreless here. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN.
Well, how overpowering has Dennis Martinez been today as he faces Alfredo Griffin? Only 1 ball has gotten to the outfield, and that was off the bat of Lenny Harris, a foul ball that was caught by Ivan Calderon. Everything else has been a ground ball or a strikeout. Whew.
1-1 the count on Alfredo Griffin.
My goodness. The bottom drop out of that curveball. Alfredo needed a pitching wedge to get that one.
Alfredo tried to bunt that and fouled it off to the left side. 1-2.
Alfredo swung at that one and missed it. Said, I better go to the bunt here. Foul that one off. It's not your run-of-the-mill curveball that's coming up there today.
Dennis with 3 strikeouts, 1 in the first, Butler, and 2 in the second, Daniels and Harris. One ball, make it 2 balls and 2 strikes to Alfredo Griffin. On this bright sunny day, we got to look at that Florida monsoon a short while ago. Last rain out at Dodger Stadium was April 21 of 1988. Prior to a rain out in April of '76, the Dodgers at one time had played 724 consecutive games without a rain out. Grounded to the right side. DeShields again. His 7th assist. Walker staying with it as that the throw from DeShields kind of tugged at Larry Walker, took him toward right field a little bit.
DeShields up with it. It's that curveball that they're beating into the dirt. And that sinkering fastball to the outside part of the plate with all the left-handed hitters in the lineup. That's why Delino is so busy. By the way, that tarp is down the left field line. I don't know how long it's been since it's moved.
1 ball, no strikes. Mike Morgan grounded to second base in the 3rd inning. In the outfield, Marquise Grissom chases this down, and he's got it. And Dennis Martinez has been perfect through 6 innings of play against the Dodgers. Well, Mark Gardner hadn't allowed a hit, but El Presidente is perfect through 6. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Well, they're stacked up out on the freeways as usual. Actually, they're parked along the freeway entrances there at Dodger Stadium. Good crowd on this Sunday afternoon.
Dodgers continue to draw. They've been a very exciting ball club. They've won 7 in a row at home. It's been Think Blue week. They haven't been blue as far as the way the Dodgers have been playing. And just another beautiful day for baseball.
Right fielder, Dennis Martinez.
Now, the only difference through 6 innings of play in comparing Dennis Martinez's game against Mark Gardner's game is that Dennis has been perfect. Mark Gardner had issued a walk in the 1st inning of the Friday night game. One Montreal hit. Ron Hasse in the last inning. Dave Martinez has lined out and flied out. Foul ball out of play to the left. You know, you're talking about some of the Hall of Fame pitchers, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale in particular. This ballpark noted for outstanding pitching performances. Most pitchers in the National League will tell you that the mound at Dodger Stadium is the most comfortable to pitch from in the league. You have a spacious outfield. The alleys are deep, 395 to center. Good pitcher's park. Griffin boots one.
That was going to be a tough play. That might go as an infield single. Alfredo was kind of shaded towards the middle with the left-handed hitting Martinez at the plate. And watch him. He's going to charge the ball as he's going to his right, trying to cut it off. Going the circle route. It hits the heel of his glove and bounds away. We still haven't had a scoring on the play, and it's going to go as an error, and that's a tough one. You got to take into account the speed of the runner, Dave Martinez, and he'd have to throw on the run across the diamond, across his body to get him.
Calderon out at first base. Down at second, Dave Martinez. So again,
Third baseman.
runner in scoring position.
Wallach.
Calderon, I don't think he was going for the sacrifice. He was going for a bunt single. He gets it too close to the mound, and Mike Morgan throws on the first. And I believe Calderon will be credited with a sacrifice on the play for moving the runner along.
Tim Wallach has hit the ball in the air twice, once to center, once to right. Strike one. The Expos have gone 29 innings without a run.
And that's the same number on Wallach's shirt. Does that mean the Expos number is up?
Could be. That number has a way of weaving itself into Expos history.
Got a runner in scoring position here, a chance to break the drought.
Here's the 1-1. Fouled away. First row of the upper deck, and a good catch by a fan.
Kid just wanted to look. Let me look at it at least.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Wallach. Larry Walker is on deck with 1 out. Wallach hitting the ball to Griffin's backhand. They throw to second. Didn't get the runner there, and the throw on to first base is in time. What a daring move by Alfredo Griffin.
Griffin going to his right, trying to catch Dave Martinez off the bag at second. Well, he doesn't do it, but Samuel has the presence of mind to throw on the first to get Tim Wallach.
Dodgers got that out the hard way, didn't they?
Well, it goes 6-4-3, but it's only 1 out on the play.
Now 2 outs. Martinez at second, and Larry Walker grounded to shortstop in the second, fly to left in the fifth. One strike to Walker, batting at .241.
You know, when you're going, things aren't going well. Wallach hit that ball right on the nose. It just didn't find a hole.
Two balls and 1 strike. You look at the ERA leaders in the National League. And then when you do, this game should not surprise you at all. Dennis Martinez, leading the league, has lowered his 2.17 earned run average. Mike Morgan in the top 10 at 2.70. 2 balls and a strike to Larry Walker.
This might be the loneliest man on the Expos. Third base coach Jerry Manuel. The last runner to get as far as third base was Delino DeShields in last night's ball game. Dave Martinez now at second, halfway home.
Morgan took something off the pitch, kept it away from Larry, and he chased it. 2-2. And Delino was the last and only runner to get to third last night. In the Friday night game, the Expos didn't get a runner to third base. Just missing outside, 3-2. So here they are in the third game of the series, and they've had 1 runner get to third base.
The last pitch, Mike Scioscia shifted way outside, gave an excellent target to Mike Morgan. They just missed, and they're going to try it again.
Fouled off. Now if Morgan gets this out, then the Dodger staff will have a new consecutive scoreless innings record. 39 innings. Surpassing the 38 innings pitched by the 1966 staff, led by Koufax and Drysdale and Osteen and Sutton. 3-2 lined into the gap right center. There goes the streak, and here comes Dave Martinez with an Expos run. Their first in 30 innings. Walker to third base. The Expos lead 1-0. The Dodger streak ends at 38 2/3.
Remember, Larry Walker hit a ball very hard the opposite field and was robbed by Cal Daniels. So he's been on Mike Morgan today. This time he gets into the gap in right center. Butler was playing towards left center. That's why it took him a while to run it down. And Larry Walker is on his way to third with a run-scoring triple.
So the best the Dodgers could do is tie their club record of 38 innings of shutout ball. Now in the 39th inning, the Expos have scored, and it's their first run. Larry Poncino's upset.
He and Lasorda going at it, and I think it was on that pitch that Walker took that they thought they had called strike 3.
One ball and one strike.
Then Larry followed it with the triple that has the Expos in the lead.
A one-hopper booted by Alfredo Griffin. Wouldn't be surprised to see the scorer go with a hit, but let's check it out. Griffin going to his left. Had he come up cleanly with that ball, with Ron Hassey being the batter, Hassey would have been out at first base. So he's giving it some thought, but there goes the error. E6. 2-0 Expos.
So for the second time this inning, Alfredo Griffin is charged with an error. He's in front of this ball. Short hops him off the glove, and the Expos pick up another run.
Spike Owen is 0 for 2. Morgan has thrown more pitches in this inning than in any other inning this afternoon. On a delay, Hassey going. The throw to second is in time. He tried a delay steal, so Spike Owen will lead off the next inning rather than Dennis Martinez, which is just fine with the Expos. Hassey caught stealing. 2 runs, none earned on 1 hit and a couple of errors by the shortstop Alfredo Griffin. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. 2-0 Montreal. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Pittsburgh Pirates down by a run in the 7th inning. They lead the National League East. The Bucks have the best record in Major League Baseball, 60-34, down by a run at the Astrodome. Mets underway in San Diego in the 4th inning. They are scoreless. Frank Viola against Andy Bennis. Phillies and the Giants are tied at 1 in the 4th inning at Candlestick Park. Dave Hollins homered for the Philly run. Kevin Mitchell homered for the Giants run. Mitchell's 18th. That's Tommy Green and Bud Black. And the Cardinals beat the Reds 3-2. Jose De Leon won his 5th. Lee Smith saved his 27th game. And Randy Myers, who started for the Reds, the losing pitcher, at 4-8. The Cubs beat the Braves 6-2. Mike Bilecki over Charlie Leibrandt. Paul Assenmacher with a save. That score will be good news to the Dodgers. Right here, 2-0 Expos, and the Dodgers come to bat in the 7th inning, the top of the order. Dennis Martinez has pitched perfect baseball through 6, 18 in a row. He leads 2-0, and here we go. Ball 1 to Brett Butler. Butler hits a foul ball back out of play. You probably remember that the last time a no-hitter was pitched against the Dodgers, and we're not referring to Friday night, that was not a no-hitter, was September 16th, 1988. It was pitched by Tom Browning of the Cincinnati Reds. He pitched a perfect game. Dennis Martinez working on a perfect game in the 7th. 2 balls and a strike to Butler, who was called out in the 1st inning. He grounded out in the 4th inning. Fouled away by Butler, off to the left.
Butler, a tough out, doesn't strike out very often. And one thing he can do, he can make a pitcher work during an at bat. He can foul off pitches with the best of them. Not much of a power stroke, just tossing the bat out there, trying to hit the ball the other way.
Two pitch to Butler. Fouled off. That hit the mask of catcher Ron Hasse. The Expos try to salvage a game in this Dodger series. The Dodgers behind 2-0, trying to come back and keep a winning streak alive. They've won 5 straight. Martinez 2-2. Popped up, foul territory. Wallach over toward the Dodger dugout, and he's got it.
Watch as Wallach gets nearer and nearer to the Dodger dugout. Notice the Dodgers scurrying up to help him, but nah, not really.
Webster with just a courtesy move.
His
former teammate.
Exactly.
One out. 19 in a row have been retired by Dennis Martinez. Samuel has grounded out twice. Bunts first base side. Martinez with the play for the out. Samuel trying to break up the perfect game, pushing a bunt toward first, and Dennis Martinez, one of the best fielding pitchers in the league, came up with the ball.
Dennis off the mound quickly on this bunt. Samuel didn't quite push it hard enough. If he gets it a little further down the line, it's really trouble. As you can see, it was just the accuracy of the throw. He had plenty of time on the play, and he makes a pretty good throw to first base.
2 outs, Eddie Murray up. He's bounced out to second base and grounded out to first base. Ken, when is the last time in a 3-game series you can remember 2 pitchers in the 3-game series carrying a no-hit bid into the 7th inning?
I can't remember it at all, ever. Ever. Some strong pitching by the Expos in this series. In 2 of the ball games.
2 balls and no strikes to Eddie Murray. Now here's a challenge for Dennis. Working on a perfect game. He has fallen behind 2-0 on Eddie Murray.
Former teammates facing each other.
Two-0 pitch. Just caught the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike.
Now Eddie didn't think it was a strike. He said something to Poncino.
Darryl Strawberry watching off to the left of the home plate area. Change up again. He has used that change very effectively so far with Eddie Murray this afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's an experienced Dennis Martinez that Eddie Murray is facing, a more experienced than when Eddie played with him back in Baltimore. Dennis would have reared back and given in with a fastball in the old days.
Pulled foul behind first base.
That was a changeup that Eddie Murray hit there, foul. So Dennis is taking that walk behind the mound that's now familiar to the Expo fans every time he gets a new ball, and it seems that this afternoon he's taking even more time. He walks behind the mound and then comes back up from behind near second base.
Two and two. 2 outs, nobody on. Inside with the fastball, but missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Again, the perfect game bid on the line with a 3-2 count. Breaking ball on the ground to DeShields. Dennis Martinez has a perfect game going through 7. Nothing for the Dodgers. At the end of 7 complete in Los Angeles, 2-0 Montreal. Labatt Expos baseball coming to you on TSN. Dennis Martinez talking things over with his first baseman Larry Walker. Dennis Martinez with a perfect game bid through 7 innings, and into the 8th the Expos leading 2-0 with Spike Owen, Dennis Martinez, and Delano DeShields coming up. A hot afternoon, and so the trainers checking with Dennis.
Shortstop, Spike Owen.
Spike Owen, the batter, 0 for 2. Spike Owen fooled by the pitch. 0-1. In the air to the left fielder, Cal Daniels. 1 away. Expos got 2 in the 7th. Unearned runs, but they scored 2. Only had 1 hit in the inning. A big triple by Larry Walker, and took advantage of 2 errors by shortstop Alfredo Griffin. Dennis Martinez has struck out and bounced out, and lines a single through the right side, a base hit for Martinez.
I tell you, in a game like this where Dennis is pitching as well as he is, you almost don't want him to get on base where he'd have to do some extra running. He had that hip problem earlier in the game, and now he's joined by former teammate Eddie Murray, and he kind of patted Eddie on the back, and they're talking. They're going over it.
DeShields 0 for 2 with a walk. Ball 1. In a game on June 20th against the Cincinnati Reds, Dennis went 5 2/3 perfect innings, and Pitcher Jose Rio broke it up. Last year, April 19th, 1990, at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Dennis pitched 6 innings of perfect ball, and it was broken up by the Phillies. Ball 3 and no strikes to DeShields, and so Scioscia goes out to talk to Morgan. Morgan's only allowed 3 hits. A called strike. When Dennis lost the perfect game bid last year, it was Lenny Dykstra who drew a walk that cost him the perfect game. Darren Dalton broke up the no-hit bid in the 8th. Base hit here for DeShields. 2 on, 1 out. 4th hit allowed by Mike Morgan.
Marquise Grissom, center field.
Marquise Grissom up, has lined out and bounced out twice. 0 for 3. John Candelaria, the big left-hander, up in the bullpen. Tim Cruz, the right-hander. Eighth inning of play in Los Angeles. Grissom takes a breaking ball and a strike. Foul tip by Grissom. You know, it's amazing. We talked about it Friday night. Mark Gardner was working on a no-hitter, and we got to the late innings of the ball game and people were leaving the ballpark. Dennis Martinez is working on a perfect game this afternoon. There are people leaving the ballpark. Look at that, headed to the parking lots, driving out, headed home. There is no explanation for that. It's just the way it is in Los Angeles. They arrive late, they leave early.
Maybe it's when the Dodgers fall behind.
Scioscia can't find the ball. That'll move the runners up. Martinez goes to third base, DeShields to second base. And Mike Scioscia had a terrible time trying to find the baseball.
Now here's the pitch, and it does bounce in the dirt, so it probably will be a wild pitch, and that's what it's called. The Dodgers will be forced to bring their infield in as Martinez heads to third. Done an awful lot of running this inning, but at least it's been base to base.
Marquise Grissom goes down on strikes for out number 2. That's the 4th strikeout for Mike Morgan, and his first since the 3rd inning. 2-0 Expos. Dave Martinez, the batter. 0 for 3, reached on an error by Alfredo Griffin to lead off the 7th inning and scored the first Expos run. Two in scoring position for Dave Martinez, who takes one outside, ball 1. Now with first base open, Morgan might want to be careful with the left-handed batter up there. However, if he loses Dave Martinez, he runs into the Expos' number 1 RBI guy, Ivan Calderon, who's on deck. That's 100 pitches now for Mike Morgan. 1-1 to Dave Martinez. Morgan now behind, 2 balls and a strike.
You know, if Dave Martinez gets a hit right here, you really see some people leaving.
Martinez with a big high chopper. Eddie Murray gets it, underhands to Morgan for the 3rd out of the inning. The Expos get a couple of hits but leave 2 and will go to the Dodger half of the 8th. 2-0 Montreal. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN.
Today's attendance, 45,000.
Well, we talked about the Tom Browning perfect game against the Dodgers in 1988 in Cincinnati. There are the other recent perfect games, Ken.
Let's see, Jim Bunning, perfect game against the Mets on Father's Day. Sandy Koufax, perfect game against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Now, I don't recall with Catfish Hunter. Len Barker against the Blue Jays. Mike Witt, I don't recall who it was against. Maybe it was against the Texas Rangers on the final day of the season in '84. And Tom Browning, of course, against the Dodgers. So the only one I can't really remember is Catfish Hunter. Some reason the Yankees come to mind, but it probably wasn't them.
Well, we have a tie, a close tie to one of those perfect games. Ron Hasse was behind the plate for Len Barker's perfect game.
Barker, of course, pitching for the Cleveland Indians.
Ron Hasse behind the plate this afternoon for Dennis Martinez. Well, how do you look at it, Ken? 6 little outs or 6 big outs?
I'll go with the big. You get in this situation,
big.
Yeah. You don't see this every day, fans. Stick around. And remember, I really believe the leadoff man in each inning is the toughest one. But I will say this, I believe that it's easier to pitch a no-hitter or a perfect game when you're involved in a tight ball game, because you have to concentrate. If you're ahead by 10 runs, makes it a little easier.
Darryl Strawberry leading it off. Maybe that's why Dodger fans leave early. The Dodger numbers in the late innings when they are trailing. If they trail after 7, they're 4-33, and trailing after 8, they've only come back once. They're 1-33. Strawberry's bounced out twice. Breaking ball for a strike. 1-2.
Oh, the outfielders are very deep for Strawberry. The infielders are just about back on the grass, talking about DeShields and Owen at second and short. Dennis is going to make these guys wait. Trying to sneak the cheese past Strawberry on the inside.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Grounded to DeShields. His throw to first for the out. 22 in a row put down by Dennis Martinez. Delino DeShields has 9 assists so far today. The National League record is set by Juan Samuel with 12 in 1985 with the Phillies.
Now, because this is a perfect game, you can bet that all the fielders are getting a little edgy. They know first they have to try to preserve the no-hitter by leaving their feet for anything that's near them. Talking about the outfielders and the infielders.
Daniels struck out in the second, bounced out in the fifth. Lined out a play off to the left, 1-2. Now, just to bring you up to date once again, when Dennis faced the Phillies last April 19th, 1990, 7 1/3 no-hit innings. He has matched that with 7 1/3 here as far as the no-hit innings are concerned. But here he is working on a perfect game as well. Two balls, two strikes. Breaking ball just missed outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Close pitch for Daniels to take, but he's gained a reputation through his years in the National League for having a good eye. Curveball. Watch Hassey try and bring this up just a little bit. It was low, but it was borderline.
Three-two pitch. Struck him out. Hard breaking pitch. 4th strikeout for Dennis Martinez. 23 in a row retired by Dennis. He is 4 outs away from a perfect game. Two down.
Breaking ball. I've been there too. Cal Daniels.
Lenny Harris batting .290. Struck out and fouled out. Ball 1. I wonder if all of the players on the field are aware of what's going on. I've talked to players after no-hitters who have said they didn't realize it was going on until it was over. But it doesn't take much to look up at that scoreboard. If you're not aware that a perfect game is intact, you have to be aware that there's a no-hitter going on, particularly in light of the fact that they're just coming off the drama of Friday night with Mark Gardner pitching. And even with the bright California sunshine bouncing off that scoreboard in right field, they can see that there hasn't been a hit allowed. But this is Dennis Martinez's day. Bouncer for Martinez, and Harris is out at first base. Friday night, that same ball in the 10th inning bounced over Mark Gardner's head. Into the 9th inning for the Expos, Calderon, Wallach, and Walker. With the Expos leading 2-0, this may be one of the most inconsequential at-bats the Expos have had in a long time. Because the focus will be on the bottom of the 9th. Strawberry with the out.
Darrell fighting the sun all the way on that fly ball, and you saw he had to speed up right at the end to make the catch. The sun over top the stands here on the third base side. And Darrell had to fight it all the way going into deep right center field.
Tim Wallach's fly to center, fly to right, and bounced out to shortstop.
Meanwhile, Mike Morgan has put a pretty good game himself. If it wasn't for the 2 errors by Alfredo Griffin back in the 7th inning. We might be in a scoreless duel. Kind of opened the door for the Expos. They picked up 2 unearned runs.
Two 1 pitch. Now 3-1 to Wallach with Larry Walker on deck. Wallach chases a high pitch. 3-2 the count. Bottom of the 9th, the bottom third of the Dodger order. Fouled off to the left side, which means Scioscia, Griffin, and a pinch hitter. So for those who have just tuned in, stay with us. Don't go away. You'll want to know more than the fact that the Expos are leading 2-0. You'll want to know that Dennis Martinez is working on a perfect game,
First base.
headed to the bottom of the 9th. They must be the people in the right field pavilion leaving that can't see the scoreboard. There's a bouncer for Morgan. And here we go. Nothing for the Expos. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Dennis Martinez will continue his bid for a perfect game. 2-0 Expos. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN.
Well, the 2 toughest plays for the Expos to complete in this ball game, and Dennis Martinez has been perfect through 8. His counterpart at the plate, Mike Morgan, gets a hold of a high pitch, drives it towards fairly deep left center field. Marquise Grissom runs it down easily. But then, trying to break up the no-hit bid, Juan Samuel goes to the bunt. And he didn't push it just far enough. Martinez with the accurate throw, and he's thrown out easily at first base. And so far, that's been it for the Dodgers. The Expos have made some other good plays on some hard shots, but they've been right at the Expo fielders.
Dennis Martinez, 35 years old. He faced Mike Scioscia in the 3rd inning, got him on a bouncing ball to second. And in the 6th inning on a bouncing ball to second. Dennis never pitched a no-hitter, pitched a one-hitter June of 1985 against the California Angels. While with Baltimore, that was June 5th, 1985, a one-hitter against the Angels at Baltimore. 1 strike on Mike Scioscia.
It was interesting to note while we were in commercial, as Dennis ran to the mound, he got a round of applause from the fans here at Dodger Stadium. Maybe some encouragement.
Off the end of the bat, Calderon in left. 1 down, 2 to go. We will have a pinch hitter for Alfredo Griffin. It will be Stan Javier. Dennis Martinez, a veteran, knows that he will have to bear down. Javier hitting just .203. As a pinch hitter, just 2 for 31. And he'll be batting left-handed, where he's batting .159.
He's hitting for Griffin, who ironically had 4 hits in last night's ball game, went 4 for 4.
Strike one to Javier. Chris Gwynn has come out to the on deck circle. 1 out in the ninth. Martinez with a perfect game for 8 1/3. 0-1 pitch. One ball, one strike. Strike two on Javier.
That curveball still has its bite.
Martinez checks with Hasse. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Now remember, Ron Hasse has been through this before with Len Barker in 1981 at Cleveland against the Blue Jays. It's the first time for the 15-year veteran Dennis Martinez. A ball and 2 strikes to Javier. Two and two. Stadium fans are with him pitch for pitch. 5 strikeouts for Dennis Martinez, and as one they stand and applaud. The batter will be Chris Gwynn. Gwynn hitting .245 for the year. Off the bench, 8 for 27, the top Dodger pinch hitter.
The other night he batted against Mark Gardner and was struck out in a pinch hitting role.
More fans looking in from the Dodger bullpen. Ball 1 to Gwynn. Two outs in the ninth. 1 ball, 1 strike to Chris Gwynn. Martinez waiting patiently for Gwynn to get back into the batter's box. 1-1 pitch. Close.
Gwynn gets good wood. Slaps it just foul.
1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. 26 in a row have been retired by Dennis Martinez. One and 2 pitch. In the air. Center field. Grissom. El Presidente. El Perfecto.
on the ball game. For the Expos, 2 runs, 4 hit, no error, 4 runs, no outfield. Roger, no run, no hit, 2 errors, no run, no outfield. The game, Dennis Martinez.
Dennis Martinez with a perfect no-hit, no-run ball game, and the Expos have beaten the Dodgers 2-0. What a tremendous reaction.
Here's the final play of the game. Dennis Martinez, they're going to come inside with a fastball. Everything else had been away. Chris Gwynn doesn't quite get it. Marquise Grissom in center field has to go back on it, but you have to hit it a long way to get it out of center field at Dodger Stadium. Good wood, but not good enough. Grissom knows he has it, and here is your perfect ball game.
Dennis Martinez, the Major League's first perfect game since Tom Browning of the Reds against the Dodgers in 1988. 2-0 Montreal. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.